Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Friday, May 24th. We got a coffee this morning. You made it to the end of the week, right? Just you got a couple more hours to go, and then you got the weekend coming up. Hopefully, you got some nice plans. So, we haven't done too much on personal development and, you know, getting yourself into a good position. And that should make you think, right? Stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. My name is Eric, and this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. And of course, today is Friday, right? And hopefully, you guys have some good plans going on this weekend. You got Memorial Day weekend coming up. That means barbecues, you know, and remembering the people we lost and being grateful for the people that come into our lives. And sometimes that's the way you have to be. You have to be grateful. And a lot of times, people don't know what they have until they don't have it. All right. And where am I going with that? Is you may be surrounded by a lot of really good people, but if you don't approach, if you don't communicate, if you don't show interest, after a while they kind of wane away, right? Because why should they hang out with you? You don't even show a response. You're just a lonely person. Gratitude and remembering our servicemen and women from past wars that have passed away. You know, I don't know too many people can say that the one of the four militaries, was it Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines, that somebody doesn't have a family member or know of somebody with a family member that served in the military. And they put their life on the line for the rights that you have that are being taken away, honestly. You know, they're fighting for the Constitution. They took an oath, just like all your politicians, except for they're putting their life on the line. Politicians are getting kickbacks and everything else, right? So you want to remember those people. And this weekend is a big weekend. Most people go to the graves and put flowers and, clean up, tidy up, and, say hello and goodbye again. A lot of times we don't realize what we have until we don't have it again, right? And my biggest loss is in people. People that passed away in my lifetime that I would love to have had stuck around just a while longer and was able to learn more from them. But with me, the way to keep them alive is to remember them. And I can still, with so many in my family, I know exactly what they would tell me. And I can hear it. It's like, all right. And a lot of things that when I was younger and they were telling me these things, whether it be my in laws or my grandparents or who have you, that it's not as bad as it is. It's not as bad as you think it is. 'Cause I used to go to extremes when I was younger. 0 to 60. Temper wise, energy wise. Now I'm 60 to 0. Start off fast and start putting down. But no, a lot of times we take everything for granted until it's not there. And then, we feel sad and upset because it's no longer there. And for some, it's material things. I don't get attached to material things because in my lifetime, I've seen it come and I've seen it go. And I've been on top of the world and I've been on the very bottom. You know, I know what it's like to have to skip and go without. I know what it's like to eat ramen noodles and get a treat as far as like a half a peanut butter sandwich. Yes. And I think the more people that could draw from that experience would be grateful when they're having a hamburger, a simple hamburger. Most people would eat a hamburger and either complain that it was terrible or it was good, one or the other. Or most often the case, nonchalant. It's a hamburger, right? Well, you take somebody that's hungry and hasn't eaten in a few days. That hamburger is like the that's the only focus they have, right? We have so many folks that are veterans that are homeless on the streets. We have so many folks here in New York that were in mental health facilities. You know, I'll just say a quick bit on that. Back in the 70s, they did some really bad things to patients. No ifs, ands, or buts. But you can't go from one extreme all the way to the other extreme, right? You got to get it somewhere in the middle. So you need to be more stringent, just like we had with the nursing homes when we started finding out up here that some of the patients were being abused. You have to have safeguards in place. And you have to have repercussions in place, right, for staff. But the people that need it the most, the mental health community, those are the ones that are on the streets as well with your veterans. And a lot of your veterans have mental health issues. It's not going to be solved overnight. And for some, they may need to be inpatient and with more than just assisted living, but have their meals made for them and a place to stay. And we need to bring them back, but we need to bring them back with more rules in place, better supervision, oversight. So as you approach this long weekend, because you have Monday off, most people have Monday off, is instead of looking at it as a long weekend away from work, we need to think about the people that served in the military, that have passed away. And we need to be, if anything, if you take away anything from this video today, is this weekend, look around at what you have and find that place where you become grateful. Because what I find, and I do it myself, is I take things for granted. I'm driving a couple-year-old truck, and there were years that I had a truck that you could see right straight through it. It was so rusty and so bad, that it wasn't even roadworthy. I can remember missing meals, even though now I have freezers full of beef and I'm not going without. So I can be grateful about that. Just look around and look at things that you can be grateful for and things that bring you pleasure. You only get to go around once. This is the hard thing most people don't get, is they work all their lives. And if you're a workaholic, like I am, that you tend to put things off that you would normally enjoy. And what I enjoy is walleye fishing. And this weekend coming up is normally open, we call it Guys Weekend up to camp. And we used to do this as an annual thing. And we had 12, 15 guys in camp and out walleye fishing like 5 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning. And I haven't done it now in close to 11, 12 years. And I had made plans to do it this weekend. I've got the boat. I've got everything, the equipment. But with my wife's mental health, I have to put that off. So I'm going to be doing other stuff around the house. I have my cows that bring me pleasure. I'm grateful for that. But I'm starting to thin down the herd because the herd's getting to be more than what I want it to be. And I'm grateful for having more than what I need, but trying to catch them little bastards so I can get them to the sale. And, for years I had 3 Harleys in my garage. And I never rode them. And the reason I didn't trust them very far, they were all carbureted. They were all old school. And Amos will know what I'm talking about. Each one of them, you had to tickle them just right on the carburetor. And I had one that if you drove it for half an hour, 45 minutes, and you shut it off, it sounded like the valves were out of adjustment, where it was just fighting itself to try to spin it over to start. And I always thought that thing would leave me. It never did, but it made me leery. So my son, he owns, one of the more expensive Harleys that are, it's what do you call it? It's loaded, right? What's the right word for it? Bagger and hard case bagger with this. It's a lot of money. And he went from a Sportster 1200 to this, and went from what. And he loves it. It's got the stereo system, GPS. It's got everything on that damn thing. Hand warmers. But he's like, Dad, you need to get back onto a bike. You always enjoy doing that. So this year, I made a checkbox. And I said, if I buy another bike, this is what it's going to be. So I went down through my checklist. I didn't care if it's a Harley or not. I'm not trying to impress people. Hondas are good. Suzukis are good. Just give me a dependable bike. I want EFI. And I want something that's comfortable ride for distances. And that's the Suzuki Boulevard fit all the boxes, the check marks. And I've been on that bike more in the past week than I have been on a bike for the past 3 years when I sold my Harleys last year. And I did the same thing with the boats. I had 3 big boats here, that were fully equipped. Never left the garage or the storage building because I'd never had time. So I sold them. And I said, what's my bare minimum that I want? I want something that I can handle to go fish for walleyes in the river under 10 horse. And at the end of last year, I found the exact boat, motor, trailer I wanted for $1,000. So I bought it, and I've been spending this spring equipping it. Now, for years, I had what they called an MG kit car in my garage. It was a Volkswagen, 71 Volkswagen, what they call it, solid pan, and then the MG body on it. And that was another one. It was temperamental. I didn't dare go too far because I was afraid I was going to have to walk home. Did it ever leave me? No. but I just didn't trust it. So yesterday I'm going to pick it up this morning. I went out and I bought, I don't know if any of you guys are car guys, is a 1977 Jaguar 4-door sedan. It's the 12-cylinder, a whopping 11 miles per gallon if you're driving it in town. But the guy is 81 years old, and the car's got, I think, 22,000 miles on it. Always garage kept. And he said it'll do 140, 150. I'm not going to find out. But he said that he's never driven it. He might drive it 300 or 400 miles a summer. And now he's at that stage where he owns 3 different properties. He has 5 cars. He has, and he's like, I don't need a mirror. And he lost his partner last year, so 2 years ago. So since then, he's been downsizing. And yesterday he wanted to show me his barn dominium that he had built. And from the roadside looking at it, it doesn't look that big. But as I went in, I was just astounded of how, I would love that. And he's got a pair of labs, and just him and the labs. And that would be just perfect for me. I told Claude, I said, you're going to have to get a tour of that house. It's a beautiful setup. He designed it all, and then he had it built to his specs. But from the outside, it looks like a regular barn, for horses. And he had an upstairs lofty area that he turned into a 1-bedroom office. It's a beautiful place, and it's got an attached garage. But he gave me one hell of a deal on that car, because he said, I know you, Eric. I've known you for years. You need to enjoy, and this is something that I know you will enjoy. He said it's roadworthy, it's mint condition, it's immaculate. And I don't think there's ever been even anything in the trunk. It's spotless, guys. It's all original. And this past winter, he'd go up once a month, just start it up, let it warm up, and then shut it back off again. So I went up, and he gave me the keys. I went up, and I had him rolled that starter once, and it was running. And it's got the dual exhaust on it, so she poured it. So I guess now I can, race Claude at 73 years old with his 79 or 80 Corvette, and me with this 12-cylinder Jag. We can run up and down our road here. So we were telling him, if you see the cops coming, it's because us 2 old fogies up the other end of the road are racing each other. So getting back to being grateful, you need to find things that bring enjoyment to you, but you also have to be grateful for what you have. Because it can all be taken away. And when it comes to people, once they're gone, then until we meet again, when it's my time to go, I can't just go see them and sit down and visit with them. So I'm going to cut it off here. You guys have a great Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy the barbecues. Enjoy your family get-togethers. And just start looking at what you have in your life that you're grateful for, that you may take for granted. That if you really looked at it, if you didn't have it, it would be a loss. And for me, that's people. So on that note, have a great Friday.